Hello?
Hi, is this Matt Reardon?
This is.
Hi, Matt. This is Rachel Alcorn. I was on the other line, and I thought that might have been you calling in, so I apologize. I'm just giving you a call back.
Okay. Trying to.
What can I do?
Well, I'm completely. To be completely honest with you, I wasn't going to speak with you, Rachel, because I'm trying to figure out honestly what can drive somebody to make the claims that you made on this affidavit, and we've never met. I spoke to Jerry Madden earlier. He didn't speak with you, and it's a coincidence that the second time, for the second time in a year's time. As I'm sure you know, I'm in the Supreme Court. I'm fighting a tremendous injustice from 2017, and for the second time in a year's time, the assigned judge on two separate circuit court matters was changed in the system. I never was out of line. I never threatened anybody. I did what I would feel would be the civic duty of anybody. Should be any concerned citizen, and I was in particular involved in this because of it being my case. And the next day I get this affidavit taken out that I've pulled all the records from Chancery Court. The factual description here on this uniform commitment affidavit is far from the truth.
Well, let me explain to you why the affidavit was filed in my position here. So I supervise the Assisted Outpatient Treatment Team and the I-Court team, which are two programs that are responsible for providing and supervising the treatment for people who are on outpatient commitment orders. And you were on an outpatient commitment order out of Calhoun County, and the I-Court team and the AOT team both tried to engage you. Let's see, I believe that was from about your release in June about into September.
Nobody had contacted me or anything.
Yes, they did, and we have documentation of that. So,
what number?
In September, our executive director issued a letter to the Chancery Clerk of Calhoun County saying that you're on an outpatient commitment order through July 22nd of 2021, and we have not been able to engage you, and that we would not re-attempt to engage you to provide services unless you reach out to us or at the request of law enforcement and or the Chancery Court to provide mobile crisis team support. So, at the request of local law enforcement, then we were engaged by them about the concerning behavior of you at the court. And so, within my role, I filed an affidavit of commitment, which started the process, which is the legal process in the state of Mississippi, and then we followed that process through.
Okay. So, I figured it'd come from Joey East. I'm not asking you to familiarize yourself with everything that I've had going on. God knows it's been a tremendous amount. But to actually take somebody such as Joey East, just right there, this word to not look into anything, I think is highly prejudicial for one. If you actually knew, there are major issues that are actually involving.
If you weren't already, I'm sorry. This doesn't really have anything to do with your court case, and I'm not familiar with that. But you are on an outpatient commitment order for us to provide treatment, and that's really the only issue that I have. If you were already engaged in treatment and we were able to provide treatment and provide that court ordered monitoring, then we would have more information.
But going into public places and recording people is not a, for one, I'm a credentialed member of the press. Lafayette County multiple times has gotten a copy of my press credentials, so I'm documenting records were fraudulently changed in circuit court. There's no way that I was delusional and made that up when it's actually truly documented. Were you sent the email that I sent Jerry Madden with the link that actually shows that completely documented?
I don't believe so.
It's unfair to call me delusional when I've gone above and beyond to publish, to produce the proof, and this is why I do that, is so that I'm not called crazy, so that I have evidence backing up what I'm saying. And, to be completely honest with you, to call me delusional, and to not look at the actual facts and the published proof right there, makes me think that the person calling me delusional is delusional. Because you can't, the facts speak for themselves. The evidence speaks for itself. I'm producing a documentary. I've uncovered shocking things. And yes, I'll admit, they are some of the most bizarre, just uncharted, shocking things that it would be so easy to call me crazy. Had I not have had undoubtable, just there's indisputable proof of it. The county is trying to cover up what they did back in 2017. It's no surprise. Joey East does not want me around here. But what I'm doing is not illegal. Granted, if I was a county official that had my hands tied in things that didn't really shed the best of light from a legality standpoint, I probably wouldn't want the person around either. But the fact of the matter is, not only am I a private citizen, but I'm a credentialed member of the press. Pressing in a non-threatening way to try to find out where the buck stopped, where the responsibility fell, and the next day, the day after, I get hauled in on a judicial commitment right in front of my own family and taken away for 2.5 weeks. I'm sorry. That is dangerous, and it chills the constitutional rights of other citizens.
Matt, I really want you to understand that you're on an outpatient commitment order, which that order requires that you participate in mental health treatment. And we had already filed an affidavit of noncompliance and notified the courts that you were not in compliance with treatment.
Okay.
So that in itself would be enough for you to have your OPC revoked and go back to state hospital.
But to say that I'm paranoid and delusional and provoking people with my minor child, where did that come? Where did provoking people with his minor child come from?
That was information reported by law enforcement and community members who witnessed you.
There's been one time that I've had my stepdaughter with me at Justice Court whenever I literally was getting some aerial video of the flag. She wanted me to fly the drone. The drone had a mishap and hit the ground. It was a complete overreaction by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department that brought 10 officers up there. I have done a public record request to get the body camera and officer statements of each of them. So if you can get that, good on you. They decided they were going to they made up their own investigation, even though it's out of their jurisdiction, to not have to comply with the public record request. That is sat open since the end of September. I was the most responsible person with my stepdaughter. In fact, it's very sad. I've gone above and beyond to try to teach my children to not fear law enforcement. And that not all of them, or that just like anything in life, there's a few bad apples that can hurt the others. But to not fear them. The first question out of her mouth whenever they pulled up was, "Mr. Matt, are they going to shoot you?" No child should ever be. That should never come out of the mouth of any child. And the fact that I have literally gone above and beyond for my kids to try to provide a safe environment, There was nothing that I did that was, and that's all on video. In fact, that's on my website. That whole entire experience that I'm referring to, it's on video. It cannot be disputed. In fact, I was trying to get the additional stuff that they won't comply with. I mean, I'm not provoking people with my minor child. That's hearsay. To put that on an affidavit, and you don't even know me. You didn't look into the facts, but you said that I was provoking people with my minor child, going into public places, recording people, paranoid and delusional. But a paranoid and delusional person would not, corroborate the claims that they were making, backing it up with proof.
Matt, let me explain this to you. I filed the affidavit based on being the supervisor of the programs that supervise the outpatient commitment orders, which you had not participated in treatment. We had made multiple attempts and notified the court. And then I was provided information from law enforcement and community members about your behavior at the courts and that whole time period. And then after I filed the affidavit, then a certified pre-evaluation screener has to come and do an assessment with you and make a recommendation if they think you need to go to the hospital or not. And then after that person, then 2 doctors do an assessment and agree. So I'm only one piece in this. So it was not just me. It was me and then 3 other credentialed professionals.
But they were hired by the same county that deprived me of all my rights and what I've alleged to have been a election scandal back in 2017. It's under a civil rights investigation. Do you not think that Chancery Court, the same county, that it would be in their best interest to pick and choose who it was that was assigned as my quote-unquote representation, and who was assigned as the quote-unquote special master, and who was assigned as the doctor and the nurse practitioner? Because, I'm here to tell you, I've got all that on paper. Even what they were paid. It was this
I see your
fiasco.
concerns. I do. And I wish that you had participated in your mental health treatment so that we had some history to back you up. But we don't have anything because you would never participate in treatment. So we don't have any documentation showing, hey, this guy is doing great. He is taking medication that's prescribed, or he doesn't need medication. He's participating in therapy. He's making progress in therapy. We don't have any of that because you've avoided the 2 different treatment teams that I've tried to be able to engage you. So that would have helped you. But since you're on an outpatient commitment order and we haven't been able to engage you, we don't have any of that information to say how you're doing.
But do you understand why I would have trust issues, and particularly now why I would have trust issues with your organization?
I do hear what you're saying. I do.
I mean,
and
I
I
certainly
hate that you feel that way because we really just want to provide mental health treatment. Like I said, I don't know anything about your court case, and I don't want to. I intentionally stay out of stuff like that because I want to be able to provide, just mental health treatment. I want to meet the mental health needs of our clients. I don't want to get involved.
But this just created issues. It just, it honest to God, it created issues because I was not off the rocker crazy. I was simply, I'm an investigative reporter. I'm a credentialed member of the press. I'm having to go and do all the work of an attorney on my own case. I mean, it's very stressful. And to find a judge getting changed in the system twice over the past year, and to simply want to know who would be responsible for this? How could this happen? All that. I never once I even told Jeff Busby, the circuit clerk, I'm not trying to blame your office. I don't think it was anything to do with your office. I just need to find out, where this could have happened. And, he got highly defensive. Contacted the sheriff. The sheriff blocked me in, told me not to go back into circuit court when I never threatened anybody. I record. That's the reason why I record it, is because I'm tired of the lies getting spread. I have to have a way of justifying, of backing myself up and proving. Lafayette County taught that to me back in 2017 with the lies that they spread. And so that's the reason why I record, and I keep a recorder on me all the time, is because, you know what? I'm tired of getting lied on, just the lies getting spread. I have to. I feel the need, and nobody should ever have to feel that way, that they have to literally all the time, to protect themselves, to be able to prove and show this and say, hey, look, this is what really happened. Nobody should ever have to feel that way. But, it's the unfortunate, position that I find myself in, and this is a prime example why.
Well, what can we do to go forward? And also, I want you to know that we're not a county agency. So I think sometimes that's confusing for the general public, that they think that we are a county agency, and we're not. All of our programs are certified through the State Department of Mental Health, so we're not a county agency. So, like I said, we really do try to stay separate.
I would love not to have any issues with you or your company. I certainly feel screwed over in the ordeal. I lost 2.5 weeks of time, and getting taken in front of my own family for something. My wife, she knows the truth. Like, she sees the evidence. It's on my website. I've gone above and beyond to make sure that I publish it, just to make sure that I can keep myself safe and protected. So I'm not labeled as crazy. And the county just immediately did a NCIS or NCIC report or whatever and I have good reason to believe that the reason for that is because everything's going to reverse in the Supreme Court from 2017. I've carried around a fake label of felon and stalker that the state of Mississippi and Lafayette County have known all along that I was innocent of. They charged me of a crime that literally was an impossibility for me to have committed. I had a bill of sale proving that. But they kept me deprived of all procedural due process rights for 6 weeks' time with a bond of $150,000, making sure that I couldn't get out on bond. I pled out to a crime I never committed because I had a minor child that was in chancery court unfairly. I needed to get her out. I sold my soul to the devil by pleading out to a crime that literally was an impossibility to have committed. It's going to reverse in the Supreme Court. Lafayette County knows that there's a tremendous dark cloud over its head. And I honestly, in looking at the papers and seeing the immediate NCIC report that was reported to bar me from any kind of firearm purchase, it just further goes to show the intentions, the foul intentions of these county officials. They can't admit that they were wrong on anything. They want to continue absconding with the things that they've done and really truly harming an innocent person that was innocent since day one. That's literally been fighting for his life. They have tremendously harmed my kids from what they've done to me. I've lost 4 houses over the last 4 years, and I'm doing everything I can to stay afloat and to overturn this injustice. So, I was thinking about this, and I don't want to have to, if it was Joey, and it's not the first time, it's certainly not the second time that he's done this sort of thing. Any type of information that you were passed, I would be willing to indemnify, completely Communicare and you, if I can get all the information that was passed to you by Joey. So I can hold, by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, so I can hold the proper ones accountable that need to be held accountable.
That information is on the affidavit. The information that I reported to the Chancery Court, that's listed on the affidavit as to what the concerns were. And again, it's also, the situation was elevated because you were already on an outpatient commitment order and had been non-compliant with treatment. And because there was a history of concern, these new behaviors being reported definitely elevated the risk. And so that's why I filed the affidavit. And any information is listed on that affidavit.
I mean, did he send this to you via email? Did he communicate it via phone? How was this information relayed to you?
It was just told to me.
It was just told to you. I mean, he came up there in person or what?
This isn't about that. I mean, we followed the legal process.
I understand because you were given that information by law enforcement. But I would like to know how he reached out, and communicated this in exactly what Joey said.
I don't have those words verbatim, but you can look back and reference at that affidavit.
Okay. All right. Well, I want you to know. I mean, like, I don't want this to happen again. I mean, it's so unfair. I mean, I understand that. I hadn't followed up with appointments, but I was also advised that there was a cost. And honestly, when I've lost 4 houses over the last 4 years, and having to fight this tremendous injustice, and having ongoing appeals in the Supreme Court, not having an attorney and having to fight these battles on my own, and literally, it cash strapping my family down to next to nothing. I mean, there's legitimate reason for.
But the AOT team and the I-Court team both notified you that there would not be charges for your services. That's why we really wanted to provide you either one of those specific programs, and we did offer you 2 different options with multiple staff trying to contact you.
But my wife and I lost our house over there in Bruce, is what I'm saying. I never got notified of any of that stuff. We had lost our house in Bruce, and we had no other choice but to relocate to Lafayette County. None of that was ever communicated to me or passed along to me. That was house number 4 that we lost.
I mean, I know that we had multiple conversations with both of my treatment teams, and different staff members who were trying to engage you in various ways. And one of the CSS, he showed me text messages that he'd exchanged with you back and forth.
Yeah,
I know that there is
the one that kept wanting to come out to the house. I mean, that kept making things sound so weird. Yeah, I mean, that was very sketchy to me.
Well, again, I mean, you're talking about having difficulties coming to appointments, and that's the purpose of these programs, is trying to we want to, eliminate the barriers. So if you can't afford it, if you don't have transportation, can't get there, scheduling issues, that's what these programs
But no, I didn't have issues making it to the appointment. It was paying for the appointment. Nobody ever relayed that all this was going to be cost-free going forward. There was the talk about there possibly being grants out there. But the fact of somebody that kept trying to push himself onto, coming to my house. I have I've already got trust issues with things that have gone on, and especially I had a guardian ad litem issue from family court.
I understand that. Let me tell you something, though. I hate to interrupt you, but I really want to get to the moving forward point. I understand what you're saying, but if you wanted to comply with your court order, you would have figured the situation out. I mean, you had several people calling you, and I know that at one point it was kind of bordering on badgering you. But again, my staff have a responsibility to help people uphold these court orders, and so that's why I know they were calling you so much. So if you really wanted to comply with the court order, you would have figured that part out. You would have made yourself more available. So you still are on a court order. In fact, when you released from Tupelo, CSU, I think on December 22nd, they have reissued a new outpatient commitment order. So that means that you're still on a court order. I don't have that yet. They were supposed to fax it over, and we haven't received it. I think it's just because of the holiday and staff being out at Tupelo CSU. So we should be getting that information as soon as possible. So we need to set up a appointment going forward.
All right. Well, I'm trying to. I had to get this thing addressed right here. I mean, like, this is put yourself in my shoes. I mean, it's hard to do that. For anybody, it would be nearly impossible to actually truly understand the David versus Goliath battle that I've had to endure. Like literally the stress has been overwhelming. I've done everything that I can do to literally, when nobody would help me, to step up and do the job of attorneys, because I couldn't afford to let this go by the wayside and get time barred out. My children deserve better, and that's why I got the press credentials. That's why I got the documentary. I got the website. I have literally tried to go above and beyond in proving my innocence, and I've done that. I've shown extreme foul conduct, misconduct on behalf of county officials that are trying to abscond with their prior immoral and wrongful deeds that they know. I think I've handled things in a very, considering the circumstances, to literally have had to carry to have lost everything, to have had everything going, to have been on the agenda to speak out and address City Hall on the day of the election of the Oxford mayor, to have been charged with a crime that literally was an impossibility to have committed, the same day that Joey East sends an email out to the mayor and the board of aldermen seeking to change 2 city laws regarding the carrying of firearms, all because I did a constitutional display, never threatened anybody the day before. I was on the agenda to speak out at City Hall the day of Robin's election, right after Joey. They pushed through those 2 city law changes while I was in jail without so much as the consent or the knowledge of the governed. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. The things that they've done are beyond criminal. And I felt that, I'm sorry for giving you all this information. You and Joey may be, buddies or next door neighbors, who knows? But, at the end of the day, the facts are the facts. I never deserved any of this. All I've been out for since day one is to protect and preserve the constitutional rights, my constitutional rights, and the constitutional and civil rights of others. I've taken politics out. It's no longer anything political. It's about right or wrong. And what they're doing is wrong.
Well, I just want to help you get mental health treatment. I mean, it sounds like you're going through a whole lot. I think it'd be a great idea for anybody to talk to a therapist, but it sounds like you've had an awful lot of hardship. And like I said, I'm really not familiar with all of this stuff that you have going on.
Well, but this could have been handled, and they didn't have to go to the extreme route, and I see that based on the paperwork that they could have chosen lesser routes. They didn't have to go straight to inpatient. Even
no,
on
but
this.
You were already on an outpatient commitment order. That's the thing. When you're on an outpatient commitment order, you have to participate in treatment, or you have to go to the hospital. So if you had participated in outpatient treatment, you could have prevented that from happening, because we really don't want you to go to the hospital. That's the goal of these programs, is to keep you out of the hospital. But if we can't find you, and we make all these attempts, and we notify the court, and then we're notified by law enforcement and other community members that your behavior is bizarre, and you're going in court and interviewing people and disrupting, public places of business, then it elevates the situation to where, okay, well, we've got to revoke the OPC, and then this process has to start.
But that's the thing. I never disrupted their business. I never threatened anybody. I never posed any kind of harm to myself or others, as it was marked. I literally, it's a court. It's a circuit court that I had matters filed in. So to say that I was disrupting their business is now saying, okay, it's not really a court. It's a it's a de facto corporation. It's not operating as an actual court. And that was what I found was odd about.
I think you're missing my words now. And we're getting really off topic because, again, I'm only concerned about your mental health treatment and the OPC. So I told you that you're on an OPC going forward. And so will you please participate in treatment this time, because we would really love to be able to provide treatment that you need, and maybe this whole situation could be prevented in the future.
Yeah, I just want an understanding that some of these things, that I'm not a delusional person. I'm not a, it would be one thing if I didn't back it up with evidence. And that's why I said, I mean, if you're going to call me delusional, at least, familiarize yourself with what all's going on and look at the evidence to see that I'm not.
So we'd like to get you set up with Susan Beard, who is one of our therapists here, for an appointment. Of course, you would not have to pay anything, for the record. You would not have to pay anything. There'd be no charge for your services. If you're prescribed medication, you would have to pay some for your medications, but we have a pharmacy that we work with that we try to make them as affordable as possible. And I don't know that you were taking medication in the past. I don't know that off the top of my head. I would have to review your chart, so I'm not sure that would even be an issue. But you do have to participate in treatment in order to comply with the outpatient commitment order. So I'd like for you to set up an appointment with Susan Beard sometime next week.
Okay. Can I call back and set that up?
You can, but I do want to say that this is what was happening before when the AOT and I-Court teams would try to schedule with you, is that it's kind of beat around the bush a little bit, and then when it came to actually setting an appointment, that wouldn't happen. And so that's why you were in noncompliance. And again, we don't want you to go to the hospital. We would love to say you have been participating in treatment, you've been making progress. We would love to be able to provide that feedback about your court order, so that in a year when it's up, we can say, no, he doesn't need this court order anymore. He's good to go. He's completed all of his treatment. So that part's on you. We can do a lot to bring it to you, but you have got to buy into it. So are you going to call back next week to schedule an appointment with Susan?
I will. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I find, and particularly wrong about this whole situation, and we can agree to disagree on that. But the fact of the matter is, I may not have gone to schedule, or I may not have scheduled appointments, but the fact is, it was lies that were told to y'all by local law enforcement that got y'all back involved and literally stripped me of my freedom and liberty.
No, you were already on an OPC, so we were already involved because you were on outpatient commitment order. She's got a 10 o'clock appointment available for next Thursday, which is the 6th. Will that work?
You can schedule it for that. I know that my wife is pregnant. We've got appointments, and it made it extremely hard for her whenever all this stuff happened. But I know you said I was on an OPC, but you also said that y'all had turned in a notice saying that y'all were going to back off, or y'all weren't going to reach out anymore. Therefore, I don't.
They reissued it after this hospitalization, which is common practice. They do that a lot.
Right. This hospitalization I'm saying this hospitalization shouldn't have happened, and is the direct fault of Lafayette County Sheriff's Department.
would love for you to move forward with your treatment so that you can say, look, I'm doing everything that I need to do. So I'm going to put you down for this appointment at 10 o'clock on Thursday, which is the 6th, with Susan Beard, and that's going to be at our main office location on Highway 7. Do you know where we're located?
I do.
Okay. That's here in Oxford. It's the Oxford location. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If that appointment does not work or you need it changed, please call Susan, or you can call me. But I really want to try to get you communicating with Susan, since she's going to be your therapist, to change that. But again, I really want to encourage you to stick to this appointment. And if this appointment time doesn't work, you really need to reschedule that ahead of time, because again, you're on this court order to participate in treatment.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Rachel.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.